Starts like this. Start off with a Maisa, and the topic tonight is Bal Tashchis. B'negei that Yaakov went back for Pachim Ketanim. But before that, there's a story that happened in Baghdad. It happened in the time when the Yidden was still in Spain. And in Baghdad there were two brothers. One had 7 sons, and one had 7 daughters. And the one who had 7 sons, so he had 6 sons who were Yirei Shamayim and Talmidei Chachamim. And he had one son who was not interested in learning. And he told his father, listen, if you could teach me the whole Torah in one shot, and I'll know it, so then no problem. But if I have to sit and learn and be matriach to learn the whole thing, I'm not interested. So what did he do a whole day? Every day he would go, his father, they were both Hashirim, both brothers. So the son who lived in the one who wasn't as much a Talmud Chacham as the others, every day he would eat a half a sheep, and he had a ton of bread and a lot of wine. That was his lifestyle. Sounds similar to some people we probably know today. I don't know if they eat a half a sheep, but me'inzeh. Okay, they eat enough shawarma and they give it to you lamb, so then it's mamish the same thing. But anyway, the father was disgusted by his son, and they did nothing. So he told him, listen, I want you to go to Yerushalayim. I have a brother who lives in Yerushalayim, and he has 7 daughters, and you'll go there, and you'll marry one of his daughters, and you'll be fine. You'll be in Eretz Yisrael and Yerushalayim. His kavanah was basically just to get rid of the son. He felt that he wasn't doing anything, so he just wanted to pata him. And he gave a letter to this son to give to his brother, and it said, in the letter, he told him, don't look at the letter, but in it said, you should know that this son is a Zayel of the Saiveh, and I'm asking you to either be Mesakin him, or Levarim in Ha'olam. That was the love the father had for the son. So he gave over this to the uncle. So he didn't know, the uncle didn't know what to do with this guy. So he had a good idea. So he decided, you know what? You came to me, I'm a rich man, I have tons of sheep, you're going to become my shepherd. I have 1,000 sheep. Every day I want you to take all the sheep and you should go out to the fields and let them graze. And that's going to be your job. And then you'll eat whatever you want to eat, and you'll make the money, and you'll be able to do what you want. So he gave him 1,000 sheep, and he counted the sheep to make sure it was 1,000, and it was 1,000 sheep, and he took all the sheep out to the pasture, and when he left the uncle's house, there was 1,000. When he got to the pasture, there was only 999, there was one missing, but when he got back to the uncle's house, it was right to 1,000. And this happened every day, and he didn't understand. He left with 1,000, he lost one, and then he went back with 1,000. He didn't know what was going on. So finally, he saw one sheep, a big fat sheep, and it would run away from the pack, and would go off. So he decided he's going to follow him and see what happens. So that day, he followed that sheep, and the sheep he saw went into a cave. And he gets into the cave, and he sees that there's an old man in the cave. And the old man tells him that I'm Eliyahu Hanavi, and the reason that I'm here, and that I had everything that happened, obviously happened for a reason, and the reason that this sheep schlepped you here was because you had mentioned that if you could learn Kol HaTorah Kula without being Miyageya, you don't have the Kalim to be Miyageya, so I'm going to teach you the whole thing in one shot. And he gave him a cup of water from Be'er Shel Miriam, and he drank that water from Be'er Shel Miriam, and then he taught him the Torah, and everything that he taught him, never forget. So he came back, huge Talmud Chacham, but the uncle didn't know, nobody knew who he was. Then he was coming back, and he saw one of the daughters, so he all of a sudden wanted to marry this daughter very badly. So he asked the uncle, can I marry your daughter? The uncle said, absolutely not. The guy's an Amoritz Gomer. I want Talmidei Chacham for my daughters. But the daughter said, if you don't let me marry this person, I'm going to commit suicide. So with less brera, so he let her marry. And then came what we call Shabbat Chatan, right? And so he has to give a drasha. So everybody, the shver was dead embarrassed. This guy's going to get up and he's going to give the worst drasha in the world. Meantime, the guy got up and he already knew all the Torah from Eliyahu Hanavi, and he gave the most phenomenal drasha ever. And the shver was super excited, and he kissed him on the head, and he said, I don't know what happened, but how did you become such a great tzaddik? At the same time, at the chasna, Eliyahu Hanavi told this chassan that you have to wait for me that I should come and be Mesader Kedushin. So he did that, and he made all the Sheva brachas, and then he gave his drasha, and everybody was very happy, and then they went off and became a kadosh and a tahar through the koyach of Eliyahu Hanavi, and able to drink from Be'er Shel Miriam. And you see this, it was like a Kal V'Chaima. He was a Pasha Pruteyam, and he had Be'er Shel Miriam, and he was able to be Zeicha, to learn Kol HaTorah Kula, and become a great tzaddik. So certainly, when we talk about Yaakov Avinu, who was Kadosh Merechem, so certainly he was on a much, much higher madrega. What does that have to do with our parsha? Very little. However, we see that Yaakov Avinu says, Vayivaser, Yaakov Levadoi, right? Zok Rashi, that he went back for Pachim Ketanim. Mashma, that what's pshat he went back for Pachim Ketanim, that he was a cheapskate. Right? Chas v'sholom to say Yaakov Avinu was a cheapskate. So what does Rashi tell us? Rashi tells us he just went back. He just has to get them. But why did he go to get them? Zok da Arizal. He says the reason that he went back, and it's a shtickle shver Arizal, because first he starts off, he says like this, that a tzaddik is nishmasei kelula from Ramach Evarim, and every Aver has in it common tzaitzis of neshamas shel tzaddikim, and every nitzais of kedusha that the Rebbeinu Shalom gave to the tzaddik, right? He got because the Rebbeinu Shalom wants him to have it, and so too with Mamonis. Everything that the Rebbeinu Shalom gave was in order that he wants him to have it, and if it will be mizbazbaz, if he'll leave it behind and not go get it, it's showing the Rebbeinu Shalom that I never wanted it to start. So that's a big bizayin to Kudsha Brichu, right? The lashon he uses, ki liyos shenishba milamayla, enei roi sheyimaz kiyim enei tzarech loy, lo hayanoisen lo yasadava me'akadosh baruch hu. If the Rebbeinu Shalom didn't want him to have it, he wouldn't have it. Therefore, he had to show that he went back for Pachim Ketanim. So Chas v'Sholom to say it's not something that's because he was cheap, right? It's just to show you the appreciation. The Rebbeinu Shalom gives you something, he meant for you to have it. He does not want you to go be mevaz b'zeh. So that's simple Arizal. Question is, what does that have to do? Why did he have to start off saying that it's klula me'ramach evarim? Why does he have to say that? So, like, what does that have to do with anything? And so, one pshat is that every chelek of a person's guf has a neshama in it. It's like taryag neshamas. That if one neshama goes off a certain aver, so the aver would die. Now, if you don't have a chelek hachiyas and get a neshama, so the neshama wouldn't survive. The aver wouldn't survive. And so too with anything that Rebbeinu Shalom, and it's all connected, right? If a person's finger dies, so it's all connected to the rest of the guf. So it's a chesron in the whole guf. So what it's saying over here is that since everything is totally in it, the moment is also goes on the entire package. So if there's one chesron, it affects the whole package. That's why he had to go back. And then there's another thing also, that since the Pachim Ketanim, that's all klipas hayonik from the tzaddikim. So if he would leave behind the Pachim Ketanim, so he would leave it for the Sitra Achra. Sitra Achra would then get it, and then he'll be able to be yonik from the Kedusha, and he'll become too strong. He'll become too strong, then he won't be able to stop him. So therefore he had to go back and get it, so it shouldn't go to the Sitra Achra. That's Nachab Pshat. And then the other thing is that tzaddikim are not Pashid Yodim Begezel, ever. Right? Now, the Rebbeinu Shalom gave us many things. One of the things he gave us was man. right? So everything that you do by Alma has to be l'shem Shemayim. So, L'mashal, you eat, so it has to be Mechabel l'shem. Why are you eating? You're eating in order that you should be a better Oved Hashem, right? What happens if a person, he goes to work, and all he's doing is going to work to make money? He has enough to live. But Medrash Vos, he wants more, right? So technically speaking, and I see some of the Hasidic Rebbe say that he's over Gezel's man. If a person just is going to work, he brings it b'shem Rameyev, Perishlan, I don't even know how to pronounce it. Saying so, you see that he's tiny that you can be over Gezel's man if a person's working just l'shem work. So how do you make it right? The way you make it right is that you have to go and be mechavin that whatever money you're going to get, you'll use it l'shem shemayim, l'shem tzedakos, or whatever it is. And you see also that there's also all adam le'anis b'aylam azeh bracha, right? But it only goes in environment that's good for the nefesh. But something that's not good for the nefesh, you're allowed to be nana from it. If a guy made $1 million, right? Since he's being nana from it, right? So if he's being nana from it, so you should have to make a bracha from it. I made $1 million against me, great hana, right? But I ate an apple, I have to make a bracha. I got the $1 million, I don't have to make a bracha. Well, it's the pshat. And so it's can't say that there's a thing called olam shana nefesh. There's different chelkei ha'olam. So different parts are for different things. The olam is klalius, so we don't make a bracha on klalius. Nefesh is for the gufa adam himself. It's for you personal, so that you have to make a bracha to be kind of for yourself. Zman is something that we share. We're sitting now is an hour. We share the hour. So even though I use that hour for hevel v'rik just to make extra money, which I don't need. So it's hevel v'rik. So technically speaking, I'm stealing this man. But a bracha on something that if I didn't from that hevel zman that I wasted, so that I for sure can't make a bracha on it. And on that note, we should all be zeicha that all the money we make, we should use l'shem shemayim.